Now from Magdeburg, we're traveling to the western part of Germany, to the beautiful city of Cologne. And there is Dr. Drescher already waiting for us. But yeah, I just want to say thank you, Dr. Drescher. We are going to visit the DLR, the German Aerospace Center, and this time there will be no persons showing us around, but a machine. So let's see what they are going to show us. Afterwards, Dr. Drescher, who is the coordinator for technology marketing, is going to inform us a little bit more.
Thank you,
The video
Carolina.
will start now.
I'm Jens Jordan. I'm director of the Institute of Aerospace Medicine at the German Aerospace Center, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to a tour at the ENVIHAB facility here in Cologne, Germany. The ENVIHAB allows research that would be difficult or almost impossible to conduct elsewhere, and our mission is to enable human spaceflight and to improve the health span of people in space and on Earth.
DLR is the German Aerospace Center. The Institute of Aerospace Medicine and ENVIHAB are located in Cologne, Germany, nearby DLR headquarters. Fusing the words environment and habitat, ENVIHAB was created. It's a research facility for aerospace medicine and reference laboratory for the International Space Station and human space exploration beyond the lower Earth orbit towards Moon and Mars. ENVIHAB comprises 6 research and 2 service modules. These modules can be combined for interdisciplinary research, controlling temperature, atmospheric parameters, oxygen, CO2, humidity, daylight and air pressure. In module M1, a short arm centrifuge for cardiovascular testing and fitness training is located. Using a radius of 3.6 meters, it creates G-forces up to 6 G in 30 seconds. This centrifuge simulates artificial gravity that can be combined with different exercise scenarios for countermeasure development against cardiovascular deconditioning and orthostatic intolerance. A vibration blade and jumping profiles are in use to prevent bone and muscle loss in microgravity and to develop medical applications for rehabilitation in terrestrial medicine. In module M2, the Barrow Chamber Physiology Lab, High Altitude Physiology, Occupational Health and Hypoxia research in pilots, astronauts and patients are conducted to discover new pathophysiological mechanisms and improve treatment in case of maladaptation. In module M3 and M5, the living and simulation area is designed for 12 test subjects simultaneously. The adjustment of day and night cycles through isolation and lighting control, a 24/7 regime of supervision and operations for life support and hygiene are used to investigate the effects of sleep deprivation and microgravity simulation in -6 degrees head-down tilt. In module M4, the medical imaging MRT-PET unit is located for non-invasive diagnostics to investigate different organs and systems, including heart functions and brain metabolism and information processing. Module M5 is the ENVIHAB psychology module to measure and increase human performance under psychological isolation. Psychological support for operators solving complicated tasks in extreme environments is in the focus of human factors research. Finishing our short tour through ENVIHAB, we want to conclude that ENVIHAB bridges aerospace research and applications on Earth. We conduct future-oriented research and provide solutions for tomorrow for the benefit of individuals and society.
Dr. Drescher, thank you for the video. And you can now share your screen.
Thank you very much for the attention. And following this little introduction video, I want to point out some of the highlights that you have seen in the ENVIHAB. Recovering yesterday and today's presentation, I think that there are a lot of very interesting fields of interaction that I can show you where we could work together in the future. But first of all, let me tell you the Institute of Aerospace Medicine and ENVIHAB, what it is. Here you can see on these images our staff, and on the left-hand side in blue, you see the different departments of the institutes. Number one, the clinical aerospace medicine or operational medicine. Then we have a department of aviation and space psychology. This deals especially with human factors research and psychology and neurology applications. Special laboratories and applications we develop and conduct in the sleep and human factors research department. We have a special department for bone and muscle metabolism to check out exercise scenarios and training. Another interesting laboratory is the Laboratory for Cardiovascular Aerospace Medicine. A special team in our institute is guided from Mrs. Melanie von der Wiesche. She is organizing all the studies, the test subjects you have seen in the video. With regard to cell biology, we have an interesting department for microbiology, radiation biology, and biophysics. And last but not least, because we are dealing with aerospace, we have a department of gravitational biology that deals with a lot of tasks in applied biology. So here you can see our main task that fits into the target that the Institute provides benefit from basic and applied research in medicine. The advantage of this ENVIHAB research or aerospace research is that we conduct investigations and research under very defined conditions, in a very controlled environment. You can see here this black dot in the middle with the name Cosmic Kiss. Last night, this morning at 3:30, a German astronaut was launched to the International Space Station, and the experiments that are running on the space station the next 6 months, we have in a ground analog here in the ENVIHAB. Where do we work? A little bit, once again, this image with the different laboratories that work in the fields of deconditioning of our body, for instance, cardiovascular deconditioning, gravitational aspects, how does our body react in hyper and microgravity, isolation, like what a lot of people, when they suffered under home office during Corona time, what does it mean, social isolation or isolation if people live in a research station on the Antarctica or on a long-term trip to Moon and Mars. In this research laboratories, we have the chance to simulate the content, pressure of atmosphere, the light-dark cycles, the noise that comes in, and last but not least, for different metabolic diseases, we can control the, nutrition and diet to investigate diseases like diabetes and others. Here's once again the sketch, what you have already seen in the video with the different laboratories. And now a little bit about our competencies. Basic and applied research in the field of human factors. For instance, on the left-hand side, you see operators on a space station which conduct a very sophisticated maneuver that's called rendezvous and docking of a spacecraft. This black vessel on the bottom is docking to the International Space Station, and you can imagine if such a vehicle, if two vehicles fly with a velocity of 27,000 kilometers per hour, if you want to dock them together, you need very, very special sensory and motory skills to get this done. And such kind of testing of operators, this is not only for astronauts, it's also for pilots, for high-speed train operators, and any people which have to make decisions and act under very extreme conditions, stressful conditions. On the right-hand side, you see the human factors, an example of the human factors research. We work for Lufthansa and airlines to help them to make the right selection for ground controllers and pilots, so that the people which go for such kind of profession have the right skills to be safe and conduct their work successful. Here, the next slide shows you a little bit the areas. We work in aircraft, airborne campaigns. We work in the space station directly with the astronauts using telemedicine and non-invasive diagnostics. And on the right-hand side, you see a child in home monitoring for sleep. A lot of cables, because these are the standards for sleep research using ECG. And what we have learned yesterday and today with miniaturized sensors, this would be a good application also for sleep research on on kids. Here's a very, very interesting image of the new spacecraft Orion that will fly to the moon next year. Orion some of you maybe remember the space shuttle, and this is a Lockheed Martin built vehicle for it can house 4 to 6 astronauts, and the biggest risk or the highest risk for the astronauts is radiation. For that reason, you see here in this first slide, not real people, but dummies, and these dummies have sensors from DLR to check out what kind of space radiation is damaging what kind of organs. So we have more than 26 different organs in the scope, and we look with active and passive radio dosimetry to check out these damages and develop special clothing that the astronauts come back from such missions healthy and not with leukemia. Now, why you should work with us? You can see that in the different laboratories, for instance, the MRT and the PET, we conduct research in the cardiovascular regulation, a beat-to-beat analysis of blood flow and muscle forces in the heart. Here in the middle picture, we have actually a project running with the German Kinderherzstiftung, Child Heart, where we investigate kids with heart anomalies directly after birth and find the best way to do surgery or not. And last but not least, this MRT procedures we develop today in a real-time mode, so that we can not only the heart but also the brain and very important organs of the body investigate in a function and in a malfunction. In the movie you have seen about the simulation facility, this head down tilt. This is a very, very sophisticated research, because 60 days, 24/7 modus, people are under controlled conditions, and we investigate the influence of such microgravity influences on the human body. If you ask me now, why are you doing this? On one hand side, okay, we have to take care that the astronauts stay healthy in microgravity, but also if you have people for 3 months in the bed after a broken leg and so on, they have problems with orthostatic intolerance, and we investigate the mechanisms. What could be done to avoid, for instance, orthostatic intolerance when they stand up, or when people long times are in the bed and lose their capacities to move and to stand up. This slide is a very interesting one. In the module 2, you have seen this baro chamber. We can do tests, real tests on humans, where the heart muscle is investigated, usually from the textbooks. Everybody knows if somebody has a heart attack, you should give the person oxygen, but this research shows the other way around. In accordance with experiments on mice, it was shown that hypoxia, that means less oxygen in the breathing air, stimulates the regeneration of the heart muscles. And such kind of research can be done here in the ENVIHAB, and you can see here a study on 2 mountain climbers under such conditions. Last but not least, you have learned during this InnoHealth tour a lot about non-invasive diagnostics. One experiment that we fly actually on the Cosmic Kiss Matthias Maurer mission is the retina diagnostics. Here, with a smartphone or with a tablet, we take videos from the retina and check out the situation of the optic nerve. And if we see that there is a swelling of the optical nerve, this is a sign of increased pressure in the skull, in the head. And I told you about radiation risk. This so-called increased pressure in the skull, this is the second highest risk that astronauts suffer from when they go to space for longer than 6 months. And we have to find a solution for this. And on Earth, of course, such kind of research is very, very interesting for accidents, motorcycle accidents on the highway. If somebody has a trauma in the head, we can quickly make images, and before the emergency car comes to the hospital, we have information. Is there something going on in the brain with too much fluid and increased pressure? So in a so-called emergency mode, this could be used here on Earth. Under well-defined controlled experimental conditions, we develop countermeasures. You see in the middle picture, once again, this head down tilt, and on the other side, on the right-hand side, you see a suction device that when we have too much fluid in the upper torso, in the head, we suck with a so-called LBNP, lower body negative pressure device, the blood back in the legs, and such kind of countermeasures could be applied, for instance, after heart surgery, to have a moderate training of the cardiovascular system to adjust to upright standing again. So last but not least, if anybody of you has interest to participate in the future on commercial space missions, NASA yesterday finished a 3-day workshops where they pointed out after 2025, we will have economy in the lower Earth orbit, including health. We will go to the moon, and medicine on the moon needs small devices, non-invasive diagnostics, and we are the right partner you can bridge with to get your devices in the orbit or into the applications that NASA is looking for. And this is my last slide. It's not only the devices and the non-invasive diagnostics. This is also on the right-hand side. We develop actually, when we talk about telemedicine, the right kind of screens to bring the digital twin of a patient or a human body to bring it to reality. In the left lower corner, you see a Volkswagen traveler bus where it's inside constructed like in a model of the space station, and this could be something like a future emergency car to get the data from a patient, or to drive to a remote area to have something like a mobile hospital. And in the upper image, you see a new kind of screens where on the screen appears only the information that the operator or the medical doctor or the engineer needs. Every specialist who is involved in healthcare has his special color and his special information on the screen, so that at the end of the day we have a high fidelity room where all these digital health applications, when we do home care, and somewhere all these data come together in a healthcare center, we have to bring this information into a right visualization, and we are working on this, the experience from the remote systems from space and bringing this to Earth. So we are looking forward to the interaction with you, and maybe afterwards in the discussion you can approach me, and we come together and work in different areas which makes sense for you and where we could create a nice win-win. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Drescher. I also want to say thank you to Professor Jordan and to Friederike Wütscher for the video. I know this was a collaborative work, and thank you for this very exciting presentation. I think this is a very special topic for all of us. So thank you for that. I was interested in something very general. So if there are questions from the audience, I would ask you to ask first. If there are questions. There are not at the moment. So I would just like to know, because you have a lot of programs or projects that are with other partners, and just maybe also for the other people who are listening, how do you fund this? Are you generally funded by the BMBF, or how do you fund this special kind of projects?
Carolina, are you asking me how do we fund it?
Yes.
Okay. So the German Aerospace Center gets different kind of funding. We have three parts. One is the German space program that is guided and directed from the Ministry of Economics. Before 2010, we were connected to the German Ministry of Research, BMBF, and since 2010, we are under Ministry of Economics. So the basic funding for the institute comes from the German space funding. Then we have third-party money. Every director from every institute, and also Jens Jordan, is connected with university hospitals. For instance, here in Cologne, we are connected to University Hospital Bonn, where we do the retina research together. We are connected to the University Hospital Cologne, and we have third-party money grants. And last but not least, this ENVIHAB, you see these 12 chambers for 12 tests. This is, of course, this is a big infrastructure that is really expensive. And there, North Rhine-Westphalia, the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, we get money from the state. But this money was just to build it and to have the basics for running it. The real compensation of all this research that is in ENVIHAB comes from partners like NASA, these so-called head-down tilt studies, 60 days. This is a lot of logistics, food, showering, controlling everything, and all these disciplines and motivation, keeping everything running. Friederike is here also in the booth. She can tell you how does it all work. There we have NASA as a big partner, and we have studies, I told you, with the Kinderherzstiftung, the Child Heart Association, to check out these special heart anomalies. So this is, again, if we call it third-party money, contract money. And mixing all this together brings us in a situation that we are able to do such kind of interdisciplinary research. And we are always looking for, if there are partners at INCA or Fraunhofer or whatever, if you feel that you want to test your devices on 12 subjects simultaneously, or what we just have seen, the carotid artery things, this would be also a good thing for the space station to check this out. And we should think, would this be a topic for the future, having this kind of portable emergency hardware, diagnostic hardware, that could be implemented into our portfolio, that we can work together. And last but not least, you have not seen this in the video, but maybe if you have ever heard the name Simon, C-I-M-O-N, this is a robot that flies on the space station, artificial intelligence robot, something like artificial doctor. And we hope to get in the future enough money to bring more applications together with such a robot, because when we fly to Mars, the astronauts are so far away from Earth, they cannot return, and they need something. And we have on Earth Alexa who plays songs for us. We need a companion like a Simon that helps us with the psycho-emotional support, with the cardiovascular, check out who takes all these data together and talks to his friend or his astronaut partner when something runs out of range, when something goes wrong, before a disaster happens. So this means I didn't I didn't catch up with all this machine learning, artificial intelligence stuff, but this is where we are working on. And for the non-invasive diagnostics today, without machine learning, doing all these image analysis, it's impossible. So if in the audience is anybody who wants to talk about such things, I'm ready to connect with you, and we are looking forward to nice interaction.
There is still time for the audience to ask a question if it is related to the topics just mentioned. I'm just looking if there is a hand wanting to say, somebody who wants to say something. Yes, Rutuja.
Yeah, hi. Hello, Dr. Drescher. Yeah, in one of your slides, I read cardiovascular aerospace medicine, and as you already mentioned, that BodyTune could be a device that can actually do diagnosis in the space station. So I was just writing you in the chat if we can have a small discussion on this, maybe in the booth.
With pleasure, with pleasure. I'm waiting for you in the booth, and
Yeah.
Because your device is handheld, and it can be used directly, so it should. I think it's a good idea to propose something together.
Sure. Yeah. All right. I see you at the booth.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Enjoy your conversation afterwards. So I don't see any hands. So I would just say thank you so much for this presentation. Thank you for the comments on it.